So, Sarah, what is something that you enjoy doing outside of your caregiving role that gives you joy or fuels you in some way?
I found that doing a morning workout gets me energized for my day. So whether it's like cycling or a walk or lifting, I need something that's just me.
Yeah.
No kids around, wake up early, get that
Like
energy
how early?
going. Between 6:30, might end up being 5:30 with new school schedules,
Yeah, yeah.
But I got to get that in just to get that energy flowing, give me my own time. Because I don't, you can't always get it, but I've learned over the years you have to find time for yourself, and that's what has worked really well for me.
Yeah, have to put it in there. Are you listening to anything like music or book or podcast while you're working out during that time, or is it just like quiet for you?
Typically, it's uplifting music.
Yeah,
get me in the spiritual zone, or I'm starting to try to look into podcasts more also.
Yeah,
to fuel me in different ways.
Yeah, neat, very neat.
Yeah.
Well, today I am sitting down with Sarah Davis. She's one of our caregivers and has been with us since March of 2018. So a hot minute, huh?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we've enjoyed every minute of it.
That's wonderful. Well, Sarah, I'd love for you to just tell us a little bit about yourself, your family, your upbringing, and all of that.
Yeah, so I get it all the time. I look so young with all the kids that I have. So I'm only 33, but I've experienced a lot, I think, throughout my years. So I just finished up getting my doctorate in traumatology, community care, and counseling.
Wow.
And master's and undergrad in child human development, conflict resolution. So that's helped a lot with everything. Growing up in a home where I was personally abused, I always knew I wanted to give back. I wanted to have a home for kids that could be safe, because I didn't always have that in my situations that I was in. And so I wanted them to know that they're loved no matter where they came from.
Yeah.
And have that for them. And I've had my issues and trials, and but I knew they were for something. They're a bigger reason. And I think that's what's drawn me to wanting to be a caregiver for anyone, is knowing that there's someone that cares, that understands what you've gone through, and has made it. And then it can turn anything into a positive, even when it was hard. When you're told so many negative things as a kid about your own self, it takes a lot to get through those and to overcome those challenges. And so, I still have my own days where I'm traumatized, or, those negative thoughts. And I think that's really helped relate to any kid that comes into our home is, we all have our days, we all have our struggles. How we handle them is what matters the best. And so, and then getting my education was something I always wanted. I wanted to be able to have the tools to be able to give back to everyone. And so I think what fueled me growing up was I was always told, you're just going to be a mom. You don't need a career. Why are you going to get that? You're going to waste it. And I was like, even if, I don't have a fancy job title, I'm using it daily. I'm using it every time.
It benefits everyone around you.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's, I think, made such a huge difference with, my own kids or any kid that come to my home or adult, being able to give back just my personal knowledge and then professional knowledge has been so helpful. And when we first started our journey, we had 2 small kids at the time. And
how old were they then?
Yeah. Our daughter was only 2.
Okay.
And then our son was, I guess she was 3. And then he was just a little over 1.
Okay.
And so everyone's like, why are you going to do this with young kids? I was like,
yeah. I would say that'd be a big question you could ask. Yeah. Bringing in potentially an individual, that could be in their 20s or older potentially, or a teenager. Yeah. So
yeah, they all thought we were crazy.
Yeah.
We lost some of our village, because they're like,
Yeah.
why are you going to do that? And that's okay.
Yeah.
But I knew I always wanted a big family. I grew up from a blended family of 9, and then my husband from a family of 8. But
wow, yeah.
Physically, I knew that wasn't ever going to be in the cards for me.
Yeah.
And you can have a family any way you want.
Right.
And so that's why we opened our homes to, we always say, or I always say, we're a home for all ages, all abilities, all needs, no matter how long they need it. And so we've enjoyed every minute. And then, we've brought on more of our own kids, and it just brings to the mix. And I think I've seen a benefit of our own kids by having them in our lives. They've grown to be, just to know that that's what our family is like, but also they've understood the difference between their emotions and connecting them and understanding like we can accept everyone.
Right.
No
they have more compassion for just anyone in their community, being saturated in that, just in their home. Yeah.
And I saw that with a parent teacher conference with our son. They said that he has grown to help another kid in his class that no one else will interact with. And I was so proud. I was like, oh my gosh,
I bet.
He brought him under his wing. And and then the other kid, he was nonverbal and saw him across in the hallway and yelled his name. And that was like a huge thing, like for him to know my son's name and to interact. It's going to bleed into your own kids and
absolutely
any life.
Do you foresee your children like going into a field like this in the future, or?
I hope so.
Potentially, if nothing else, are just more compassionate for those that are living with developmental disabilities and whatnot out in society.
I definitely see they can understand. They are very understanding of everyone, and they're more patient with them. And so I hope that they'd want to do what they can. And I think it's just honestly that they're aware already, because there's so many kids that aren't aware or how to interact with anyone.
It can be scary if you don't know how to react or, communicate with people. Yeah.
So just having that awareness alone is wonderful for them.
That's huge. That's beautiful. Now, I know just from knowing you in years past that the foster care program was, big in your heart. Now, is that something that you said that led you to find Restoring Hope?
It was, yeah. So someone that helped us consider being foster parents, she found Restoring Hope, and then we got to know her individual, and I was like, well, that is so sweet to give, all ages a home. And I was like, we could do this.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason we couldn't, it doesn't matter the age, because, they might be 25, but developmentally they're 6 or 7 or 14. And they need that home. They still need that security. And they deserve to have a family feel instead of being isolated in other situations that unfortunately these people come from.
Right. Yeah.
So especially years ago, like eugenics, that was such a huge thing. That's what I teach my students is like, I know all of my kids that come into my home would have ended up in an institution if these homes aren't available.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Because if people aren't trained to take care of them, they're not going to thrive in any normal setting. It has to be structured.
Exactly.
So the host home model definitely provides that place for them to belong, to be safe, to grow, and to feel loved, essentially, is what we all need, Yeah.
And the host homes really provide that connection for each of them, whether it's with a family or just a couple or a single parent.
Yeah.
Like there's a home for anyone that needs it.
Yeah. So are you done with your education at this point, or are you pursuing more training and more degrees at this point?
Well, I'm working on fully getting licensed as a therapist.
Okay.
So my degree didn't go into Missouri, so I want to get licensed, because eventually I'd love to open up my own trauma practice for people that have experienced trauma and abuse in any situations, because it's a huge need. Working in the system of both areas, you can always use more therapists that can relate.
Yeah. Yeah, I think coming from an experienced background, probably better what questions to ask or what people are truly going through on the background and on the inside. So
that's my hope.
That's neat. So you have quite a bit more training, or just a little bit, or you just said you need to be certified in Missouri?
Yeah, just certified. So I've dipped my feet into what that looks like. And luckily I don't have to do as much as I was thinking.
Yeah. Well, good.
I've got a lot of it. So
well, good. Well, hopefully that works out for you and you can get that opened up and and serve in a greater way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Have you been able to use your training that you have on individuals or to help other caregivers? Do you have any like examples of maybe that you could share?
Oh yeah, I've got. My whole journey, I was pretty much going through school. So I was finishing my master's when we first started the process, and then my doctorate took 4 years. And so pretty much the whole time I've been using it and growing. And in my classrooms, I would use the examples of, what I'm already doing in the home. All of our kids or clients, have abusive backgrounds typically of some sort. It doesn't have to be even traumatic or super traumatic. It just is
little T.
Yeah. And that goes into their behaviors and understanding. And I think the biggest thing is understanding why is this behavior happening. And that happened with one of our kiddos that has been in our home for 6 years now. She came to us from a very verbally abusive home. And so she would try to have these yelling matches with me. And I'm not a yeller at all. And it doesn't do anything in that situation. I can see
you yelling just knowing you. Looking at your sweet face.
It's funny when the kids try to say I'm yelling, I was like, you don't know my yell. Like, that's my stern voice.
Right,
but with her, she would like corner me and just like try to yell in my face. And when she first did it and I didn't yell back at her, she was like shocked.
Right.
And she's like, no one's ever not yelled at me when I'm yelling at them. And so it took us a year of her, yelling at me, and I can take it. And I know that she needs to get it out.
Yeah.
And then we'd process it afterwards. But if I didn't have my training, you're not know the patients, you can honestly say something that could trigger them more in that situation. Sometimes you have to take a step back, let them have those emotions. And then once they're calm, come back. And so it took consistency of letting her do that and being okay with like understanding that and what that behavior looks like. And then a biggest thing for our individuals is I think they're very negative, pessimistic about themselves and their self-esteem. And so we had another kiddo that really struggled with that. Well, lots of our kiddos, but one particular that constant negativity with themselves. And so I focused on anytime they said one negative, they had to give me 10 positives.
Oh, that's good.
And so whether they could verbalize it at the time or they would go write it down. And then I would make them say it back to me. And so doing that with the teens and adults that have come in has really shaped them to get that mindset. And it's whether if it's about themselves or, sometimes they say negatives about other people. I was like, okay, tell me 5 positives about that person. And it can't be just, they got pretty clothes on. No, what's 5 about them? And shifting that gear to make them look at other people also in a positive light can make a huge difference. And I've loved to see that change within them because they'd get into the habit of, they would say something negative and they'd look at me right away and be like, I know, 10 positives. And I was like, exactly. Like, that's good. And I do it to myself. We all have those negative comments or interactions. And every one negative interaction needs 10 positives to come back. And so doing that consistently shapes your whole atmosphere in your house. And seeing that with the individuals brightens my day to see that they're trying to focus that on themselves too.
That's so awesome. That's so incredibly beneficial to get. I think really anybody should adopt that principle. I know my mom's done that to me before. Just it's been several years back, but I was in her driveway and having a hard day, and I couldn't even hardly come up with 10 things. So she had to help me a little bit, and I'm sure you probably have had to do that as well. But it does help you put into perspective, like something may not seem good and you're really upset about it. But if you can think about the good things, it definitely shifts your mood. Pretty quickly. Do you have any other stories of any specific training that you've utilized in helping an individual through a situation, or potentially another caregiver with a situation?
Yeah. So with having the trauma or the traumatology background, as well as I'm an autism specialist, and then also with the counseling degree, sometimes I'm not their personal therapist. They have their own.
Right.
But knowing that they can come to me with anything, and I'll sit down with them, have that conversation, not trying to fix them in those moments, but just letting them hear it out, and then shifting the perspective with certain questions really assists. And then we do lots of respite for other kiddos and adults.
Okay.
And so sometimes having that outside perspective can shift, and giving them little tools that works in our home.
Right.
And then also collaborating together to work, because it takes a village. And finding that village and finding the homes that work really well together. And so, and then, a lot of our individuals are on the spectrum. And so being able to have that training, knowing how to work with those individuals is really key, because, each individual that comes to your home or a child is going to need something different.
Right.
And you can't treat them all the same. And in our home, I talk a lot about, I treat everyone fairly. I don't treat you equal, because that will look a lot different.
Right.
And I want to give you the best tools to succeed. So in our home, I do treat you fairly. Everyone is fair. You might get something that someone else doesn't get, but that's because that's what you need in the moment, and vice versa. And so that has been a good shift for a lot of them, is because they want to be equal. They want to be the same and normalized, but letting them understand, like, sometimes we do need extra help and assistance, and that might look more at one time or than another. And helping others understand that also. I've told them it's like, you don't need to treat them all equal, even though if they're all the same age or similar mentalities, they need something different. And we have to change our parenting styles and our techniques and our strategies for those individuals. And knowing that maybe you're doing something you shouldn't be, and trying a different technique or routine, or understanding the behavior is the biggest thing also. Is we might think it's attention seeking, so we're approaching it that way. But then when we realize, no, it's for, they actually need something, and it's a want and a need, then we can see that we need to intervene and not ignore it, and go into it. And so when you're working together, collaborating, having different people working with you, they can see that. And having those open minds all together will make a big difference to be okay with, it's okay to switch it up and figure out what's going to work. Yeah.
So you said you do quite a bit of relief. Have you built kind of like a network or a village of other caregivers that you communicate with and share situations with, and help each other throughout that process?
Yeah. I was just talking with someone this weekend. We saw each other at an event, and with our kiddos, and, they're saying who's who. And I was like, that's my kiddo, but, that's her second mom too. Right. We're co-parenting. And I love that she said that. We do co-parent, and we interact together, and, we switch kiddos or, interactions and stories, and, oh, this worked for you. Awesome. Okay. This is going to work. Yeah. We'll come together, and, we'll vent together a little bit, or, whatever we need to have that. And you got to have that person. Yes. Within this type of line of work is having that emergency contact. Yes. to go to, and who understands, and you're not sharing too much, but you're sharing enough that you need to to be able
especially if they're caring for the individual as well. It's good to know kind of what's going on with them and within the home, and how you both can work together to keep a balance for the individual. Yeah.
And you got to find someone that works the same rules and expectations and values, because everyone's different, and that's totally fine. But for the individuals, they need that consistency and routine, and understand wherever they go, the expectation's the same. Because you don't want them going to grandma's house every weekend, right? Because then has even more behaviors, and we've seen that. And it's like, I love you guys as a home, but it just doesn't work for our individual because they need that consistency and stability. But then another person might work well there. Yeah. And so you have to figure out the best respite homes for everyone. And it's okay if you're not the right home for everyone, but you will be for that person, other people. Yeah.
How does that process work then if you're needing to find new respite? Do you connect with your program manager strictly for that? Or are you meeting people at different events and conferences and summits and parties? What's that process like for you finding relief for your individuals?
I think it's evolved over the years. At first it was program manager. They give me a list of people and then going to the summits and then the different parties that they do, finding them. And I've got actually a collection of them. So I've been the person where other people come to me, cool. Where's the respite? Yes. Who do you know? Yeah. And so I've shared mine as well. Yeah. And so I've built up the collection over a variety of ways and figuring out what would well. And then other homes like, hey, who have you used? Who
would you recommend? Like? Yeah.
I know you work well with this person. Who else would work for them? And sometimes it's a trial and error. We had a respite home that we had for our individual for the first 4 years, the same person. And then they no longer were available. And so we had to find a new stable person.
Gotcha.
Did it take pretty quickly? 6 months.
Yeah. Okay.
Ooh, it took a while to find the person just because our individual's a great individual, but they know how to
specific needs.
Yep. Yeah. They know how to work people.
Gotcha.
And that's okay. And so finding that right person now, and then sometimes you have to have two right people sometimes, you know, because you never know. And so
they may not be available. Yeah. So good to have a backup.
Yeah. Yeah. And so having those consistent people make such the big difference.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So finding a home that works, and if you can stick with that routine, it works best for everybody involved, it sounds like. Yeah. And I feel like I've heard that from other caregivers a lot too. They kind of like to stick with the ones that work, but as you said, sometimes people are not available, and so just being open to try and work with a home and the needs of the individual to keep the consistency the best that you can. Yeah, I think is good advice for any new contractor that's wanting to get their feet wet and try an individual in their home, is to work with the home that they're currently with the best that you can, is what it sounds like to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. So overall, what would you say your journey has been like with Restoring Hope, doing foster care before? Are you still doing foster care, or have you kind of phased that out and are just doing Restoring Hope care now?
We do a variety, but it's mainly been Restoring Hope overall. And so I think it's a blessing for us to be able to help the individuals. And then it builds our home in a positive way, having that community, having other individuals that know what you're going through also. Because I think working with different agencies, sometimes you do feel more isolated, or it's harder to find respite or finding that connections. But Restoring Hope does feel like more of a family. They offer those a list of respite homes that are available, and it's a variety of them. And others it's cutting teeth to find someone, and so having that security that not
relief is there.
Yeah. And you got to take it. Yeah. And they need that as much as you need that to give them a break from everything. Yeah. And then knowing that, you've got a variety of people in the office as well to ask questions, or I love the different trainings that are available. And then doing fun activities too. Yeah. There's a wide variety that Restoring Hope has given us that has made it such a positive experience.
Yeah. So have you, it sounds like from what I know about you, you very much love learning. Yep. You're continuously learning. Are there specific things that you've enjoyed getting to learn about at our events, and what's some things that you would like to see more of at our summits or conferences in the future.
Yeah, I love when they remind us about the self-care. I feel like we just can never get more reminders about self-care, and it's okay to take that time. And then I love that when you bring in other therapists that come in, and the different techniques and strategies that they use is very beneficial.
Yeah.
And then I loved the panel that was with other homes. I thought that was cool to, I think especially for newer individuals to be able to ask those questions and to have experienced homes, be honest and open about their experiences and interacting the homes into that, I thought was really neat.
Okay. Very good. Well, I know too, like, it seems like you always win a big prize at every event. You're like the luckiest person I know. I swear you won so many gift baskets and goodies. Seems like every event. So you're very lucky. So you need to come to every one because it works out pretty good for you.
That's happened to me as a kid too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I would enter drawings and then my parents like, put your name in because it'll happen. And it does. It did. I was like, well,
you're a winner. You were born a winner and you just live that way.
Well, thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. So what would you say is your hope for individuals, maybe mainly within Restoring Hope? What is your hope that caregivers would be able to just pour into them and do for them and for their lives?
I think the hope for the individuals is to find that safety and find that family. Because it's okay if it's not your biological family. Yeah. Blood doesn't make family. We can create our own. And so having the individuals find a true home is what I would love for them. And then a place to grow. Because in a home and a family, everyone grows together and strives together. So having that for the individuals, and then as a caregiver, hope is that the individuals will bless your home even more. Yeah. It's not going to become a burden or something that is so challenging that it takes away from everything else. It should add a positive instead of bringing back the negative. Yeah. And
not deplete you, but add deposits back into your life. Yeah. Into your home. Yeah.
And if it starts to deplete you, maybe reflect on why it is. Is there other strategies that we need to incorporate or add, or not every individual is going to do well in our homes, and we have to be okay with that. And
turning loose. Yeah. If need be. Yeah.
And be open to change. So,
and adapting every which way you can. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. What is your best advice for a new home? Maybe one that like doesn't have like even any training in foster care or anything, but they just have room in their heart and in their home for an individual. What would be your best advice for them getting started?
It'd be, read the plan carefully. And then, just, it's okay if you fail. Know that, all the individuals are unique, and you could have as much love as you want and pour as much, but the individual has to want that as well. And so knowing how to work with anyone, but knowing when it's okay, like we said, and then just being okay to ask questions, being okay to say, I'm struggling with this, and not feeling like you have to do it alone. I think in the beginning, I thought that, I didn't have all the trainings at first. And, sometimes you think, well, if you're struggling, that means you're failing and they're failing. Well, no, it's just the approach could be different, or one little thing you could change. And it could be that, because with one of our individuals that came to our home, they said our home was too nice. And and we tried to figure out, like, is it too clean, or I was being too nice? And like my approach, I was being too, not to say too nice again, but just too, not passive, but just, I was trying to figure out what they needed. Yeah. And they needed more direct and more, specific language. Okay. And so when I gave that to them, the whole shift was different, and they opened up more. But then others, I can't be that direct because they'll think I'm being too aggressive towards them. Man. And so knowing that your approach is going to be different with everything.
That's huge. But it's awesome that they were vulnerable enough to tell you, that you were it was too nice. But then you had to decipher that and boil that down to the grain of what was actually being said or communicated to you. So that's really neat. I know I feel like I've heard this too. A program manager shared one time that even a client felt like the house was too clean and they come from a more messy background. And so that was what was comfortable to them. Yeah. So and then helping the clients work through those things. Because obviously to pass certification and audits, we have to have clean environments and safe environments. And so it's finding that balance between, keeping them comfortable and happy, but also, doing our part as caregivers and as an agency to provide the appropriate living space for clients. So,
because a lot of it is they just want that control.
And
offering choices gives them that control. And being able to.
Do you feel like you do that a lot? Is you, with a lot of your individuals, you have to give like A or B. And so they have the power, but also you're able to help them accomplish the goals that they need to each day.
Oh, I do that daily, often, constantly. With everyone.
With your own kids? With your husband? No. I'm just kidding.
But you just kidding. Everyone wants the that sense of control that they're making a part of their life. And so, whether it's a peanut butter jelly or a wrap or, brush your teeth now or after TV or, giving the simple options can make a huge difference. And then some need a couple more choices. And then I've seen where I've offered too many choices. And so figuring out what works for them. The best thing that we've done also is prevention, not intervention.
Okay.
We do a lot of preventing talks when we're all piled in the car and we're going to an event. All right, what does that look like before? What does it look like during? What does it look like after? And having those little talks before, even going to the store makes a huge difference of whether there's going to be a meltdown or tantrum or, fights over things or it's going to run smoothly. Making sure homes know that it's okay to have silly little talks that you might think, but it makes such a difference.
Is the schedule going to change? You said with school starting, is this going to shift a lot of things in your house for your individuals? Do you have some going to day program?
Yeah, so day program, and then she goes back to work with her job coach also. So this week is our gear up to get ready because schedules and routines are very consistent and letting them know like what to expect ahead of time and what it looks like and practicing it makes such a big difference. And letting each of them know like you might have different wake up times, but they're doing their thing, you do your thing. All
right. Well, thank you so much for sitting down and visiting with me and sharing about your education and how you've been able to apply that with your individuals. And I hope that our caregivers listening will reach out to you in some way, whether if it's at a party or try and get a hold of you if they need some advice on behaviors, because I feel like you have a wealth of knowledge and you are constantly learning and continue to train your brain and your heart on how to care for people better. So thank you for everything that you do for Restoring Hope for our individuals and just the way that you're changing people's lives. So,
well, thank you. I strive to do all that I can for anyone. So.
Thank you.